Section 91. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But I have never heard of the ninth prince Ying Ziyu. Would the great Qin Emperor Yingzheng allow such an unknown prince to marry? Li Tai frowned and was very confused. Empress Changsun shook her head and said helplessly, I don't know either. For this matter, I also asked your father, King's Emperor. In the end, he didn't say anything, but just said that he would tell me in detail after he got the news. Li Lizzie, Li Qingxian and Li Tai were even more curious. Even the father didn't know who this Ying Ziyu was. What kind of person is this Ying Ziyu? Li Lizzie's big eyes were full of curiosity. At this time, the Tianjiao list was shaken again. Tianjiao list first place. Ying Ziyu, alias, Ziyayuk, Bai Jianxian, etc. Identity, the ninth prince of the Great Qin. Realm, land god. Kung Fu, divine and demonic treasure book. Reward, divine level elixir, Genesis Hongmeng pill. After taking it, the physique can be transformed into the creation Hongmeng physique. The Tianjiao list has been updated first, and the Wulin sect list will be released 1 month later. All the sects in Jiuzhou can enter the list based on the strength of the sect master and the number of tickets. Note, it is a sect, not an organization or a force. The mansion of the 9 princes of Daqin, Jiang Yuyan was a little stunned when she saw Zhu Hozhao holding her land god. The master is already a land god at such a young age, an 18-year-old land god. This is probably unprecedented, and it will definitely be unmatched in the future. With such talent, who else in Jiuzhou can compare? No wonder the master is not worried at all. It turns out that the master has such a strong strength. Jiang Yuyan felt very warm. Although Ying Ziyu is very powerful, Jiang Yuyan still doesn't want him to get involved in the affairs of the Holy Land. She didn't want to put the master in danger. Even if there was no danger, the master must not be put in danger. Fortunately, I hid my true strength through rewards, otherwise the whole Jiuzhou would explode. Ying Ziyu smiled and thought to himself, Chapter 64, Ying Zheng Special Care, Different Reactions from Different Countries. Second update of 5,500 words, please subscribe. Congratulations to the master for being the top of the Tianjiao list. Jiang Yuyan said sincerely, the stronger the master, the happier she is, because in this way, if something happens to the Holy Land, she doesn't have to worry about the safety of the master. The supreme elders have been trapped in Kunlun and can't get out, and Tianmen and Soshan Palace have been attacking the Holy Land. Sooner or later, both sides will explode completely, but, relying on herself alone, even with the holy objects, she can't deal with Emperor Shi Tian and the immortal god at the same time. Originally, Jiang Yuyan still had some concerns in her heart. What if she implicated the master? Now this concern is completely put down. She can plan everything with confidence. Even if she dies in the end, she doesn't have to worry about her master. Okay, don't frown and think too much. Frowning all the time will make you ugly. I'll take care of anything. With me here, it's not your turn to come forward. Ying Ziyu rubbed Jiang Yuyan's eyebrows and said with a smile, he has also heard of the 7 emotions and 6 desires Holy Land, and knows what kind of sect it is. However, Ying Ziyu doesn't care about these. As long as Jiang Yuyan treats him wholeheartedly, it is not impossible to help the 7 emotions and 6 desires Holy Land in the future. After all, the strength of this sect is very strong. And the cultivation method is also very special, absorbing it and making it part of the power of the subordinates can strengthen the strength. Jiang Yuyan smiled and nodded, and the sense of security in her heart was instantly full. After his identity was exposed, Ying Ziyu was very calm. What he wanted to know more now was what others would think after knowing his strength. Daqin, Xianyang Palace. Ying Zheng looked closely at the words on the Tianjiao list. He frowned, which was very rare. He never expected that the top of the Tianjiao list would be his own son, or the 9th son Ying Ziyu, who he had never paid attention to before, but only found it interesting because of the marriage with the Tang Dynasty this time. A land immortal who is less than 20 years old, what a talent. The most important thing is that not only Ying Zheng, but no one else has discovered when Ying Ziyu practiced, how he practiced, and how he got to this point today. It's so interesting. Such a person actually appeared among my sons. Ying Zheng laughed. He didn't have the slightest worry in his heart. Instead, he was very relieved, since Fusu was, Ying Zheng has been looking for a suitable successor for Qin. He had noticed Hu Hai before, but Hu Hai and Zhao Gao were too close. This made Ying Zheng very unhappy. Although he let Zhao Gao control Luo Wang, it did not mean that he trusted Zhao Gao. The matter of the successor of Qin has always been a headache for Ying Zheng. Unexpectedly, there is always a way out. Another Ying Ziyu appeared. Zhao Gao, how is the situation of the ninth prince whom I asked you to investigate? Ying Zheng asked coldly. 603 After ordering Ying Ziyu to marry the Tang dynasty, Ying Zheng wanted to learn more about this son whom he had always ignored, so he ordered Zhao Gao to investigate thoroughly. As a result, nothing was found. This made Ying Zheng very angry, and he asked Zhao Gao to continue investigating. Your Majesty, the situation is still the same as before. I have not found any information about the ninth prince. It seems that he has never come out since he entered the ninth prince's mansion. Section 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhao Gao bent over, lowered his head, and said helplessly, he was originally very curious about the news about Ying Ziyu, and wanted to investigate further. Not only that, Zhao Gao also arranged people to watch at the ninth prince's house, just to understand Ying Ziyu's every move. Unexpectedly, before any news came back from there, Ying Ziyu topped the Tianjiao list. I didn't expect it. The most hidden one turned out to be this ninth prince. Land immortal, it's really enviable. Zhao Gao was shocked and envious at the same time. As the master of Luo Wang, his cultivation was only at the late stage of the grandmaster. Compared with Ying Ziyu, Zhao Gao felt that he had been living in a dog's stomach for so many years. My good son is really well hidden. For so many years, no news has been leaked. This determination and forbearance are even stronger than what I did to kill Lao Ai and Lu Buwei. It seems that I have to pay more attention to him in the future. Ying Zheng was in a good mood at this time, and even his tone of voice became very relaxed. This was a state he had never been in since he took power. Even when he destroyed the six kingdoms, Ying Zheng was not as happy as today. After listening to Ying Zheng's words, Zhao Gao was shocked. It was the first time he heard His Majesty say that he was not as good as someone, and this person was His Majesty's son. This is not a good sign. However, Ying Ziyu is a land immortal, and ordinary means can't play any role in front of him. No, I have to think of a way. Zhao Gao's eyes flashed with light. He is Hu Hai's teacher, and only when Hu Hai becomes emperor will it be the best result for him. He must help Hu Hai eliminate all obstacles on the way to the throne. Just when Zhao Gao was thinking about these things, Ying Zheng's words interrupted his thoughts. Zhao Gao, go and call the ninth prince. I want to talk to him in person. Yes, sir. After Zhao Gao left, Xuanhuan suddenly appeared. Your Majesty. Is what Zhao Gao said just now true? Can't find any trace of the ninth prince. Ying Zheng restored his previous arrogant and indifferent appearance. The him just now was only temporary. Now he is the real him. Your Majesty, it is true, and I can't find any trace of the ninth prince. This ninth prince is really amazing. When Xuanhuan spoke, he admired Ying Ziyu very much. It is not a very difficult thing to be leak-proof for a while, but it has been like this for more than 10 years. Not to mention ordinary people, there are not many people in the whole Jiuzhou who can do this. I know, you go down, Ying Zheng said lightly. After Xuanhuan left, Ying Zheng spoke again. Wu and Jun, what do you think of Ziyu? Bai Qi slowly walked out of the shadows. This ninth prince is very powerful. I have lived for so many years, and I have never seen anyone as forbearing as him. Even Go Jian, the king of Yu who slept on firewood and tasted gall in the past, was not even 1/10 as good as the ninth prince. While being forbearing and low-key, he cultivated to the realm of immortals on land. Still so young, the ninth prince is a great thing for my great Qin. Bai Qi's last sentence was very affirmative. Ying Zheng nodded thoughtfully. He would have to talk to Ying Ziyu later to decide the details. Except for the great Qin, the most shocked and unexpected was the Tang dynasty. Li Shimin rubbed his eyes carefully, fearing that he had seen it wrong. After confirming that the first place on the Tianjiao list was indeed the ninth prince Ying Ziyu of the great Qin. Master Yuan, I didn't expect that Ying Ziyu was so well hidden. Li Shimin's face was gloomy when he spoke. He originally thought that Ying Ziyu was unknown and it would be unfair to marry his precious daughter to him, but now, Ying Ziyu has directly topped the Tianzhou list. This made Li Shimin think that Ying Ziyu was very scheming. If he married his daughter to him, he would definitely not be able to defeat Ying Ziyu. It would still make his daughter feel wronged. In addition, Ying Ziyu is so powerful that he will definitely make Daqin stronger in the future, although Daqin and Datong are currently in a cooperative relationship, but who can guarantee that this relationship can continue? I didn't expect that this 9th prince of Daqin would be so powerful. I think Ying Zheng will be very happy at this time. Yuan Tiangang was also very surprised when he saw Ying Ziyu on the list. He had guessed that Ying Ziyu was not simple, but he never thought that he would be so simple. No, this is not a simple thing, but very scary. Yuan Tiangang asked himself, if it were him, he would never be able to do what Ying Ziyu did. Which young man is not young and frivolous? With enough strength, he would want to let everyone in Jiuzhou know. However, Ying Ziyu did not make a fuss, but kept a low profile. Even if people knew him, they were all aliases. Your Majesty, Ying Ziyu is very unusual. You must be careful, Yuan Tiangang reminded him, and his tone became very serious. This was the first time he was so afraid of someone. I know all these things. But the marriage has already been spread. There is no possibility of regret. Li Shimin sighed helplessly. Then, he continued, Master Yuan, help me to find Ying Ziyu. Yes, the Tang Dynasty harem. At this time, Empress Changsun, Princess Chang'e Li Lizzie, Crown Prince Li Qingqian, Prince Wei Li Tai and others were also stunned. Mother, is this person on the list really my future brother-in-law? Li Tai tried to open his eyes wide. Section 93. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The fat on his face swayed and looked very happy. Empress Changsun nodded, sighed, and said, Originally, I thought that the 9th young master of Great Qin was just an ordinary person, so there was no way to investigate his information. Now it seems that this Ying Ziyu is a very good person. You know how to hide your clumsiness at a young age. The future is limitless. That she said this, but she was already very worried in her heart. The more outstanding Ying Ziyu is, the more this proves that the greater the pressure Changlu will face after marrying him. There is never a shortage of women around good men. Can my daughter really deal with those women? Empress Changsun looked at Li Lizzie, who was at a loss next to her, very worriedly. I didn't expect that my brother-in-law is quite powerful. He is already in the realm of land gods at such a young age. If anyone bullies me in the future, I will ask my brother-in-law to beat him up. Li Tai clapped his hands excitedly. Li Qingqian on the side felt a little embarrassed. Just now he said that if his sister was bullied, he would take people to teach Ying Ziyu a lesson. Now it's good. If they really go, who knows who will teach whom? Mother, is this my future husband? Chang'e asked with a red face. She didn't think too much, she just felt that her future husband was a land immortal. This is the highest realm of a warrior. Chang'e felt very powerful, and a trace of admiration rose in her heart. She began to be curious about what kind of person Ying Ziyu was. Chang'e, my good child, if you are wronged in Daqin in the future, you must tell your mother. Empress Changsun hugged Li Lizzie and said with a very sad expression. Li Lizzie didn't understand why her mother said that, so she could only smile and comfort. Don't worry, mother. Ying Ziyu is so powerful, no one will bully me in the future. She is so kind by nature, and never speculates about others with malice. Li Qingqian and Li Tai understood the meaning of their mother's words, but they could only sigh helplessly with their heads down. In the Sui dynasty, Yang Guang was extremely angry. Li Shimin's son-in-law is actually the first on the Tianzhou list. He also became a land immortal. Why are all the good things Li Shimin's son-in-law has, and only some bad things are left for me? Yang Guang was shouting like crazy in the palace. If you didn't know that he was the emperor of the Sui dynasty, you would think he was a lunatic who had lost his mind. Your Majesty, why do you have to be so manic? Ying Ziyu is on the Tianzhou list, which is not a good thing for Li Shimin. Yuan Tuo said softly. Yang Guang calmed down all of a sudden and thought about these words carefully, then he started laughing crazily. The Grand Master is right, the Grand Master makes sense. The more powerful Ying Ziyu is, the more uncomfortable Li Shimin's son will be. Ha ha ha. Li Shimin's son, this is the price you should pay for occupying my Sui dynasty land and snatching my daughter. Yang Guang laughed crazily again. he now does things and speaks as he pleases, he doesn't care if there are people around him. Yuan Tuo shook his head helplessly. It seems that I have to contact the queen as soon as possible. Yang Guang's condition has become more and more serious. If it continues like this, the Sui dynasty will sooner or later be destroyed by Yang Guang. Yuan Tuo will never allow such a situation to happen. At this time, the guards outside the door reported, Your Majesty, the people of the left cavalry guard are back. Quick, let them in. Tell the imperial kitchen to entertain all the people of the left cavalry guard tonight. Yang Guang said with a smile. Yes. Northern Song Dynasty, Bianliang. Zhao Ji was stunned for a long time when he saw Ying Ziyu on the list. Huang Aiqing, why have I never heard of such a ninth prince in Daqin? Zhao Ji asked with some doubts. He knew that Daqin had the eldest prince Fusu and the 18th prince Huhai. He had also heard of the other princes, only the ninth prince who was on the Tianjiao list today had never heard of him before, and even had no impression of him. It was as if the great Qin had never had a ninth prince. Your Majesty, this ninth prince of the Great Qin was the one who married the Princess Changle of the Great Qin. Huang Shang reminded him. Zhao Ji suddenly realized and immediately said, I remember. He was intoxicated with eating, drinking and having fun all day long, and never cared much about various things in Jiuzhou. Many times, he just heard about it the previous second and forgot it the next second. Huang Shang had long been accustomed to Zhao Ji's situation. Your Majesty, the war between Liangshan and Fang La is a bit tight. Do you want to send troops to reinforce and wipe them out completely in one breath? Huang Shang asked while he was at it. The distance between the Great Qin and the Northern Song dynasty was not close, so even if Ying Ziyu had become a land immortal, Huang Shang was not too worried. Just send people from the Imperial City Department to keep an eye on Ying Ziyu. The current priority is to solve the internal problems of the Northern Song dynasty. Huang Shang didn't want the Northern Song dynasty to become the second Ming dynasty. You can make your own decisions, Mr. Huang. I believe in your ability. Zhao Ji smiled and waved his hand, then continued to practice calligraphy. Different from Zhao Ji, when Zhu Wuxi of the Ming dynasty saw Ying Ziyu on the list, he was very worried. I didn't expect that there would be such a person in Jiuzhou. The Qin dynasty has one more land immortal, which will have a significant impact on the situation in Jiuzhou. It seems that I have to perfect my plan again. Zhu Wuxi's eyes flashed with light. He was preparing for a rainy day. He had already formulated the plan to control the Ming dynasty. Now he just had to wait for Zhu Hozhao to die before he could implement it. In the Southern Song dynasty, Zhao Go didn't care at all. Section 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Daqin is far from Southern Song, and Zhao Go is now thinking about how to pay less tribute every year. On the Yuan side, Temujin saw Ying Ziyu on the list, and his mind began to become active. This Ying Ziyu is really amazing. It seems that we must stop Daqin's momentum. Otherwise it will be very unfavorable to the grassland. Temujin said. One of the national teachers, Ba Siba, said, Daqin borders the grassland, and now there is another land immortal, which is bound to pose a threat to the grassland. I think we can send someone to contact Maodun Chanyu of the Xiongnu. The Xiongnu has suffered from the invasion of Daqin. I think they should be willing to cooperate with us. Everyone is a nomadic people on the grassland, and they are very familiar with each other's situation. Ba Siba knows that the Xiongnu has always had a hard time. Every year, Daqin would send troops to encircle and suppress the Xiongnu for training. However, Maodun Chanyu was also very tenacious. Under such circumstances, he unified the Xiongnu tribes and made the Xiongnu one of the overlords of the grassland. What the national teacher said makes sense. Temujin nodded and thought this was a good idea. Afterwards, he wrote a letter and sent someone to deliver it to Maodun Chanyu. Chapter 65. Ying Zheng was shocked by Ying Ziyu's ambition, and the actions of his confidantes. 10,000 words. Please subscribe. In addition to the Tang dynasty and the Song dynasty, the Han dynasty, the Qin dynasty and other dynasties were also very surprised that Ying Ziyu was on the list. The intelligence organization under their command had no knowledge of Ying Ziyu before. The only knowledge of Ying Ziyu was that he was about to marry the princess of the Tang dynasty as a prince of the Qin dynasty. The Qin dynasty, it's incredible. Why doesn't the sky stand on the side of my Han dynasty? The way of heaven is unfair. Lu Hong made such a helpless voice. Of course, the most intense reaction was from Ying Ziyu's confidants, Baiyu City. After Yan Lingji and others learned about Ziyu's true identity, they were quite shocked. The person they were looking for was actually the 9th prince of the Qin dynasty. Moreover, Baiyu City borders Qin. For so many years, they didn't get any news. This cruel guy, he is so close to us, but he didn't come to see us. He is really a heartless man. Honglian gritted her teeth and said viciously, of course, she was pretending, not really angry, she was just a little angry. Obviously, the distance was so close, why didn't he come to Baiyu City to see them? Obviously, they were so close, why didn't they find him? All kinds of grievances and self-pity burst out in her heart at the same time. Qin Zhugongzi, I remember that he wanted to marry Princess Changel of the Tang dynasty. Xinu said with a smile on her face with narrowed eyes, she also has an intelligence organization all over Jiuzhou under her command Xuanhuan. So even if she has been staying in Baiyu City, she knows the situation in Jiuzhou very well. Sister Xinu, Sister Yan Lingji, if he is with Princess Changel of the Tang dynasty, what should we do? That when Nanyue heard this, she was a little panicked. She put all her thoughts on Ying Ziyu. She always wanted to find Ying Ziyu and stay with him. In the end, she found him, but she also got the news that he was about to marry someone else. Nongyu was now confused and at a loss. If she really couldn't be with Ying Ziyu, Nongyu really didn't know what hope she had in her life. She was such a woman. Ever since Ying Ziyu helped him to get revenge and find his brother, Nongyu put her whole heart on Ying Ziyu. Don't worry, Sister Nongyu, Sister Xinu and Sister Yan Lingji will definitely find a way. Xuanhu comforted softly. Duan Murong also patted Nongyu on the shoulder and said, don't worry, sister, he will definitely not abandon us. Xuanhu nodded, agreeing with this statement. They also knew what kind of person Ying Ziyu was. Although there were many women around Ying Ziyu, he never neglected any woman, he always treated everyone equally. This is also the reason why they are willing to stay with Ying Ziyu, because they never have to worry about being abandoned one day. This unfaithful man makes us look for him so hard. We sisters are worried about him and looking for him all day long. He is so good, staying in his own house as the 9th prince of the Qin dynasty, and even marrying the princess of the Tang dynasty. Do you really think he wants to take all the good things in the world? Flames burned in Yan Lingji's eyes. She was a little jealous. Yes, jealous. It was obvious that they met Ying Ziyu first and stayed together for a long time. Why was she able to marry him openly in the end, and someone else was his wife? If it was one of these sisters, Yan Lingji would not be so jealous, but it was indeed the princess of the Tang dynasty. Or marrying him in the form of marriage, which made Yan Lingji feel that Ying Ziyu was forced, and Ying Ziyu was unwilling. So, while feeling jealous, Yan Lingji was also thinking about how to bring Ying Ziyu out of the Qin dynasty's Xianyang city. Since you are not happy in Xianyang, I will take you out of that place. At worst, we can all travel around the world together. This is what Yan Lingji really thinks. Although she said it very unpleasantly, she is actually worried about Ying Ziyu. Xinu and others also understood Yan Lingji's thoughts, and they all lost their resentment just now, but frowned and were very worried. Sister Xinu, he won't have any accidents, right? That when Nongyu asked, her voice was a little trembling, her heartbeat was crazy fast, which showed how nervous she was at the moment. Don't worry about that unfaithful man. With the strength in his heart, no one in the whole Jiuzhou can make things difficult for him. He didn't refuse the marriage, so he must have his own plan. He should be preparing for something big. You should all know about his intelligence and ambition. So I dare to conclude that his plan this time is very big. Maybe it has something to do with the throne of the Qin dynasty. Xinu spoke slowly, her voice was very gentle. She has always been like this in front of familiar people, always unhurried. The more she was like this, the more relieved Nongyu and others felt when they saw her. Section 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This means that the situation is not very serious. What Xinu said makes sense. We don't need to worry about his safety. Now we should think about how to get close to him. Only by getting close to him can we prevent him from forgetting us. Otherwise, when there are more and more women around him, maybe one day this unfaithful man will completely forget about us sisters. Yan Lingji frowned and said, although she knew that Ying Ziyu would not do this, however, she still had to keep a sense of tension in her heart. This is the only way to ensure the status of these women in Baiwa City in Ying Ziyu's heart. Yan Lingji is indeed like this. Let's do this. I will take Nong Yu and Xuanhuan to Xianyang to establish a new Zilong Xian. Before, because I didn't want to confront Luo Wang directly, I ordered them to evacuate Xianyang. This time I will go there in person. Even if Xiao Gao comes in person, it will be useless. If he dares to use force, I will let him know that not everyone can be provoked at will. When Xinu spoke, a purple rotating disc appeared in her eyes, layers of purple mist appeared on her body. At this time, Xinu looked very charming, but it was full of danger. Often, the more beautiful things are, the more dangerous they are. Xiao Gao, just a eunuch, just kill him, Yan Lingji said with disdain. After making a plan, Xinu took Nong Yu and Xuanhuan to Xianyang. Also traveling with them was Wei Zhuang, who was in Baiwa City. When he learned that Xiao Ku was Ying Ziyu, he was extremely surprised. What made him feel even more desperate was Ying Ziyu's strength, the realm of immortals on land. This is the goal that Wei Zhuang has pursued all his life. Ying Ziyu has reached this point at a young age. A strong sense of frustration rose in Wei Zhuang's heart. However, he did not continue to be decadent, but instead stimulated his fighting spirit. Xiao Ku, Ying Ziyu, one day I will stand in front of you and challenge you with my real strength. Wei Zhuang secretly made up his mind, he would go to Xianyang with them this time. I just want to see if there is a chance to learn swordsmanship from Ying Ziyu. That's right, Wei Zhuang wants to learn swordsmanship from Ying Ziyu and also wants to defeat Ying Ziyu one day, learn from the barbarians to defeat them. This is Wei Zhuang's idea. Daming, Yihua Palace, Yao Yue and Lianqing fell into silence at this time. That elegant young man, the white-clothed Xiaoyak who spent the whole day with them, turned out to be the 9th son of Daqin. This unfaithful man deceived me so badly. He also said that he had no home and was free to do anything in the world, so he was called Xiaoyak. Why did I believe his lies at that time? Yao Yue had a cold face and tried to make her tone cold. However, no matter how you listen, you can feel that there are strong memories in her words. Sister, are we going to find him? Lianqing's tone was a little expectant. She wanted to see Xiaoyak day and night. Now that she knew that he was Ying Ziyu, who had been making a lot of noise in Jiuzhou recently, Lianqing naturally wanted to find him impatiently. Lianqing didn't think too much about it. She didn't care about the marriage between Ying Ziyu and Princess Changoli Lizzie. She just wanted to stay by Ying Ziyu's side every day. This unfaithful man not only didn't come to Yihua Palace to find us for so many years, but the news we learned about him was that he was going to marry Li Lizzie of the Tang Dynasty. It can be seen that he doesn't take us sisters seriously at all. He is like this, why should we rush to find him? No, you are not allowed to go. Yao Yue frowned and spoke in a very cold tone. Of course, she was pretending. She also wanted to see Ying Ziyu, but she couldn't let go of her pride. Sister, stop pretending. Your coldness and arrogance only work in front of me and the disciples of Yihua Palace. Now you probably want to see him more than anyone else. Lianqing mercilessly exposed her sister's superficial disguise. If it were in the past, she would not dare to speak like this in front of her sister. Since meeting Xiao Ku, her relationship with her sister has become very harmonious. It doesn't matter if they sabotage each other in private. This is also the biggest change of Yao Yu after meeting Xiao Ku again. If it were the past, she would have knocked Lianqing away with a palm by now. Now she just pretends to be calm so that Lianqing doesn't see her embarrassment. I want to see him, but the situation in the Ming Dynasty is changing. No one can predict what will happen tomorrow. Wu Kei and Xiao Yuer have not come back yet. Although Xianlan and Suing are not in danger, they have not come back yet. Right now, Yihua Palace needs 2 of us to stay in charge to avoid accidents. So we can't leave Yihua Palace. Yao Yu expressed her thoughts helplessly. Ever since Zhu Hozhao fell unconscious, the martial arts world of the Ming Dynasty has become chaotic. Although these have not had much impact on the top forces like Yihua Palace, which has land immortals sitting in charge. However, Yao Yu still has to be careful. One is to preserve this foundation, and the other is because of the Yihua Palace. Even if she meets Ying Ziyu in the future and stays by his side, Yao Yu feels that she will not be inferior to him. Lian Xing sighed helplessly, she also knew what her sister meant. She was indeed a little careless just now. As for Tai Xinlan and Su Ying, they also knew that Xiao Ku was Ying Ziyu, but the two of them couldn't get rid of the valley now, so they could only stay in the valley to digest the elixir. As for Lin Shirin, who left Li Garden, she didn't stop at all and went straight to Daqin to find Ying Ziyu. She had already taken revenge and had no attachment to Daming, Daqin, Taoist Tianzong. Xiao Meng woke up from her retreat. She had always thought that with her age and cultivation, she would definitely be able to get on the Tianzhou list. As a result, she didn't make it to any list. This hit Xiao Meng very hard, and then she began to retreat. After knowing that Ying Ziyu was on the list and became the first, Xiao Meng felt that her heart was already in turmoil. Even younger than her, he was already a land immortal. For the first time, Xiao Meng felt that her talent was so vulnerable. Master, I want to travel, Xiao Meng said lightly. Section 96. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What Tianzong pays attention to is supreme forgetfulness, but Xiaomeng felt that she had never experienced love. How to forget love? She decided to take a trip to Kyushu to experience it. Go, Bei Mingzi said lightly. He knew that his apprentice had always been proud and arrogant. He must be very upset about not being on the list of geniuses. He also understood why Xiaomeng wanted to practice. He did the same thing back then, and finally discovered the meaning of love and became a land god. Xiaomeng is a unique genius in Tianzong for hundreds of years, and Bei Mingzi believes that she can definitely do it. After Xiaomeng finished speaking, she turned around and left Tianzong. Yin Yang family, Dong Jun and Xiao Siming were in a daze. In order to find Xiao Ku, they did not hesitate to join forces to force Dong Huang to abdicate, and then took control of the Yin Yang family. With the help of the Yin Yang family, they began to shrink Xiao Ku. Unexpectedly, the person they searched so hard for was actually beside them. This is really a bit dark under the light. Unexpectedly, he is right in front of us, Dong Jun said with a smile. The Yin Yang family and Daqin have always had a cooperative relationship. She didn't expect that. She never discovered that the ninth young master Ying Ziyu was Xiao Ku. Xiao Siming nodded and said nothing. Dong Jun continued, it's normal not to find him. This ninth young master has always been secretive. If it hadn't been for the marriage between Great Qin and Datang, I wouldn't have known that Great Qin still had a ninth young master. I was looking for him all the time, so I didn't pay much attention to it. Unexpectedly, this is the reason why we only found out who he is today. You think it's a bit funny that we have worked so hard and yet got such a result? Dong Jun asked young Siming seriously. She no longer knew what to do. Should she go see Ying Ziyu? This is the person she misses day and night. Although there were many things she wanted to ask in her heart, when Dong Jun was asked to think about it carefully, she only wanted to say one thing: she missed him very much. If such words were said in person, I wonder if Ying Ziyu would feel disgusting. All kinds of thoughts made Dong Jun, the leader of the Yin and Yang family, a little at a loss as to what to do. Xiao Siming shook his head and rejected Dong Jun's random thoughts. She stretched out her hand and wrote a series of words on leaves. Sister, don't think too much. When you see him, everything will become clear. After reading these words, Dong Jun also realized that she had indeed fallen into a misunderstanding just now. She nodded and said, after the Yin Yang family's affairs are settled, we will go to see him. I want to ask him personally whether he has thought about our sisters all these years. She has indeed become the leader of the Yin Yang family. However, many people in the Yin Yang family are not very convinced of her. These people are still loyal to Dong Huang Tai. This resulted in many of Dong Jun's orders being obeyed and disobeyed. Dong Jun has decided to deal with these people and twist the Yin and Yang family into one. Anyone who doesn't obey will be killed. Dong Jun has always been so indifferent to people he doesn't care about. To show mercy to the enemy is to be cruel to yourself. This is what Ying Ziyu taught her back then. Xiao Siming nodded and agreed. At this time, Dong Huang Tai burst out laughing in the secret room of the Yin Yang family. Zayak, Ying Ziyu, the ninth young master of the Qin Dynasty. You hide it well enough. You have become a land god at such a young age. Even I am ashamed of this talent. How much strength did you use in that attack back then? It seems that I need to talk to you in detail. Dong Huang Tai's eyes sparkled. His cooperation with the Qin originally had a strong purpose. Now that a better candidate has emerged, Dong Huang naturally wants to see if Ying Ziyu will agree to his plan. Xianyang, Qin Dynasty, inside the inn of Huang Rong in Xiaolongnu. Good guy, I'm still thinking about waiting for the 9th young master and Princess Changle to get married and see if I can go in and cook. Okay now, that guy is actually the 9th young master. You want me to cook some shitty food? If I cook this dish, do I still need Huang Rong's face? Huang Rong angrily threw the account book in her hand on the table. She felt that her face had been completely humiliated. Xiaolongnu smiled lightly and said, Sister Huang Rong, you don't have to be like this. After all, we didn't know that 9th young master was Xiaoyak at that time. We are still thinking about how we can see him. Her mind was now full of Ying Ziyu's figure, and she wanted to see him immediately. However, she didn't know what to do. How about we sneak into the 9th young master's house secretly at night and go see him? Huang Rong's eyes widened and she rolled her eyes and said, during this period, she worked hard to win the banquet for Ying Ziyu and Li Lizzie's wedding. She knew that the 9th young master Ying Ziyu had not been taken seriously by Ying Zheng before. 9th young master himself is also very low-key, and almost no one knows about him. Therefore, the location of Jiuzhou Gongzi mansion is also very remote. If they sneak in at night, they shouldn't encounter any obstacles. Is this really okay? Xiaolongnu also became energetic and asked excitedly. Huang Rong nodded, and then told what she had learned during this period. Don't worry, Sister Long, there will be no problem. We are both great masters. As long as we don't have land immortals, we can escape even if we are discovered. Besides, if we meet land immortals, we will definitely fight. Once we use our moves, that unfaithful man will definitely recognize us. When the time comes, he will definitely come to help us and save us from danger. Huang Rong said confidently. Xiaolongnu also thought it made sense, and nodded and agreed. Just when Ying Ziyu's confidants were thinking about how to meet him, Ying Ziyu had already come to the imperial study to meet Ying Zheng alone. Your Majesty, Ying Ziyu bowed. He had expected this day of showdown. Section 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So, his heart was very calm without any waves. He wanted to know more about what kind of mood Ying Zheng and the ministers of Daqin were in at this time. Ziyu, you are very good. I never thought that there would be someone like you among my sons. Ying Zheng's voice was still very cold. Even if he was in a good mood at this time, he still spoke like this. This is the way he talked to people over the years. No matter who the other party is, it is difficult for him to change. Then, Ying Zheng continued to ask, I don't understand, you are so talented and powerful, why do you have to be low-key all the time? That this is a doubt in his heart. If Ying Ziyu showed his excellence early, then Ying Zheng would definitely pay special attention to him, and his life would definitely be thousands of times better than it is now. He would definitely be cultivated by Ying Zheng as the heir of Daqin. Your Majesty feels that the Qin royal family has a son who is extremely talented in cultivation and is still as good as anyone in Jiuzhou in other aspects. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Ying Ziyu asked calmly. The question he asked was very special, and he had already thought about how to deal with Ying Zheng's question. When Ying Zheng heard this answer and question, he was even more puzzled and confused. Is this a good thing? Of course it is a good thing. As an emperor, who doesn't want his son to be a dragon among men and excellent in all aspects? If someone else asked, Ying Zheng might have answered directly. However, it was Ying Ziyu who asked the question, so Ying Zheng had to think carefully about whether there was any other meaning in it. From the time Ying Zheng started thinking about this problem, he no longer treated Ying Ziyu as a child who knew nothing. He treated him as a person with the same thoughts and way of thinking. This was the first time Ying Zheng treated his son with such an attitude. After thinking for a while, Ying Zheng also understood what Ying Ziyu meant, and asked calmly, from my point of view, this is naturally a good thing. However, it is not a good thing for those countries that want to destroy the Qin dynasty. For those who have already taken a position and want to support other princes to take this position, it is not a good thing either. Ying Zheng patted his seat while speaking. He knew the thoughts of those ministers in the court very well, but he did not point it out, let alone say it out. This is inevitable for every dynasty. As an emperor, the most important thing is not to eliminate these, but to balance them with the emperor's mind. As your Majesty said, if I show my talent before I have real strength, What will those people who think it is a bad thing do? Ying Ziyu's tone is still very flat. He said this, of course, just to find a reason that can convince Ying Zheng. For those jumping clowns, Ying Ziyu never took them seriously. Ying Zheng did not speak, but his eyes kept flickering. He knew that what Ying Ziyu said was not without reason. Ying Ziyu's mother was not the daughter of a powerful person in the Qin Dynasty. Her family had no power and could not provide Ying Ziyu with corresponding protection before Ying Ziyu really grew up. Even if Ying Zheng knew, he could not protect Ying Ziyu too comprehensively. With the strength of the Qin Dynasty, it is not afraid of any country in Jiuzhou. However, if these countries in Jiuzhou unite, the Qin Dynasty can only fight to destroy the country and severely damage these countries. This is not about the strength of the Qin Dynasty, but a series of problems such as the number of troops, logistic supplies, the size of the territory, and top warriors. This is the case for the Qin Dynasty, not to mention that these countries are working together to deal with Ying Ziyu who has not grown up. It seems that I took it for granted before. Ying Zheng rarely admitted his mistake. If the other Qin Dynasty officials heard this, they would definitely think they had heard it wrong. What do you want? Ying Zheng asked. His eyes were like torches, staring straight at Ying Ziyu. Ying Zheng was looking forward to Ying Ziyu's answer. I want to firmly grasp Jiuzhou in my hands and let the flag of Qin be planted in every corner of Jiuzhou. Whether it is the court or the rivers and lakes, there will be only one voice from now on. That is the voice of Qin. But when Ying Ziyu said this, his voice was very firm, his eyes were even more determined. After listening to it, Ying Zheng felt unprecedented passion. He had previously only wanted to eliminate the rest of the countries and unify Jiuzhou. Unexpectedly, Ying Ziyu wanted more, not only all the land of Jiuzhou, but also the rivers and lakes of Jiuzhou. Very good, I am very satisfied with this answer. Go ahead, I will support you in anything. Ying Zheng said with a look of lightning. Then, Ying Ziyu and Ying Zheng began to talk. Outside the hall, Zhao Gao looked very calm on the surface, but he was restless in his heart. It's been an hour. What exactly are the ninth prince and his majesty talking about? Zhao Gao was eager to know the content of the conversation between Ying Ziyu and Ying Zheng. This was a very important matter for him. He wanted to confirm whether it would have any impact on Hu Hai's future. Just thinking about this, the door of the hall slowly opened and Ying Ziyu walked out. Greetings, ninth prince. Zhao Gao bent down and looked very respectful. Ying Ziyu was not fooled by Zhao Gao's appearance. He knew that Zhao Gao was a poisonous snake who could give people a fatal blow at any time. Zhao Gao, how is my 18th brother Hu Hai doing recently? Ying Ziyu asked. He knew that Zhao Gao was Hu Hai's teacher. He also knew that although Hu Hai was the main responsibility for the death of Qin Tu, a large part of the responsibility was Zhao Gao's, so, Ying Ziyu never had any good feelings towards Zhao Gao. Thank you for your concern, ninth prince. Everything is fine with the 18th prince, Zhao Gao said very humbly. 0. Facing a land immortal like Ying Ziyu, Zhao Gao could only hide all his thoughts in his heart and never reveal them at all. Otherwise, today might be the last time he stood in front of this hall. Give my regards to my 18th brother. Tell him to come to my house when he is free. Ying Ziyu left after saying this. Zhao Gao looked at Ying Ziyu's back. His emotions were very complicated, and his eyes were beating wildly. Section 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is the oppressive feeling of the land immortal realm. Even if he speaks to you in a soft voice and does not use his internal force to oppress you, you will still feel great pressure. After he finished speaking, it was as if he had fought a big battle and consumed all his strength. Ninth prince, what should I do? Zhao Gao began to think about countermeasures. He never took the eldest Prince Fusu seriously, even the courtiers in the court of the Qin Dynasty. Zhao Gao never thought they were anything great, but only the ninth prince Ying Ziyu. Zhao Gao felt an unprecedented crisis. He was able to endure until he became a land immortal, and he was only 18 years old. What a terrifying person. After Ying Ziyu returned to the mansion, Jin Luoyi appeared immediately. My lord, the two plans against the Northern Song dynasty have begun to be implemented. Jin Luoyi said concisely. Ying Ziyu nodded and said, after the Northern Song dynasty is over, the next target is the Han dynasty. Remember to be prepared. Yes, Mingjiao, Guangmingding. After Yin Susu knew Ziyak's identity, she had no way to leave immediately to find him. because, not only did the Persian Mingjiao headquarters send news that they would send Fengyunyu Sancher to the headquarters with Saint Daikasi to serve as the leader, however, the leader of the Persian Mingjiao can only be a virgin, and Daikasi is no longer a virgin, and she has given birth to a daughter. Xiao Zhao, according to the rules of the church, Daikasi must be killed. As the leader of the Mingjiao, Yin Susu naturally could not let this happen, so, she was waiting for the arrival of Fengyunyu Sancher to protect the Mingjiao and Daikasi. Protecting the comfort of her subordinates is the responsibility that Yin Susu should fulfill as the leader of the Mingjiao, and it is also something that must be done. Zayayak, I will find you after I deal with the affairs of the Mingjiao. Yin Susu murmured softly. At this time, Yang Xiao and others had also arrived at Guangmingding. Yin Susu wanted to discuss with them how to deal with Fengyunyu Sancher. Although her strength is strong enough, this is the Ming cult's business after all, and these people should be involved. Meet the leader. Yang Xiao and others stood up and said, they all knew what they were doing today, so without hesitation, Yang Xiao stood up and said, the 3 envoys of Fengyunyu will arrive soon. I think we must kill their prestige. Yang Xiao gave his attitude. Fan Yao said with some concern, I heard that this time the 3 envoys of Fengyunyu will come with the Holy Fire Order. The 6 Holy Fire Orders were introduced to Jiuzhou together with the Persian Ming cult, and have always been the order of the leader of the Jiuzhou Ming cult. But when it was passed to the 31st Shi cult leader, it was taken away by the beggar gang, and then passed through Persian merchants and flowed back to the Persian general cult. I'm afraid the 3 envoys of Fengyunyu will make a fuss about this matter. We should think of a countermeasure. What he said was not unreasonable. The things were lost from the Jiuzhou Ming cult, and it was reasonable for the Persian Ming cult to come and blame. Of course, this is only what Yang Xiao and others think. Yin Susu did not take this matter seriously at all. It has been so long. If they want to hold the 9 provinces Ming cult accountable, the Persian Ming cult would have sent people long ago. It is nothing more than taking the opportunity to capture Dai Qisi to make a fuss. Purple Shirt Dragon King, what do you think? Yin Susu asked. This matter was caused by Dai Qisi. Yin Susu naturally wanted to see what Dai Qisi thought. This way, she could better arrange the following things. I will leave it to the leader, Dai Qisi said. She was also very helpless. Originally, she was one of the 3 saints of the Persian Ming cult. According to the rules of the church, she could not fall in love with anyone, let alone get married and have children, but she fell in love with Han Qianye and gave birth to a daughter named Xiao Zhao. If it were not for the repeated insistence of the former leader Yang Dingtian, Dai Qisi would have left with her daughter Xiao Zhao in order not to implicate the 9 provinces Ming cult. In that case, let's follow what Yang Zwisher said. Let Fengyunyu Sancher know that this is Jiuzhou, not Persia. The affairs of our Jiuzhou Mingjiao cannot be interfered with by the Persian Mingjiao. Yin Susu said very domineeringly. Yes, Yang Xiao and others said in unison. After hearing what Yin Susu said, they felt an inexplicable peace of mind in their hearts. It also strengthened their idea of following the leader. After seeing Zayak's identity, Zhou Zhirua went straight to Daqin. As a result, she met Shiman Chushue who came to ask for advice halfway. However, Zhou Zhirua did not know him. Who are you? Zhou Zhirua asked coldly. She just wanted to see Ying Ziyu as soon as possible and didn't want to say any more nonsense to anyone, so, her face was as cold as ice. Shiman Chushue didn't notice Zhou Zhirua's mood was not right at all, and said lightly, I am Shiman Chushue. I saw that you were on the Tianjiao list and were good at swordsmanship, so I came to ask for advice. He felt a strong sense of coldness and swordsmanship from Zhou Zhirua. This is really the right opponent Shiman Chushue is looking for. Shiman Chushue began to be eager to try. Zhou Zhirua said coldly, Are you Shiman Chushue? The person who was fooled by Yi Guqing in the forbidden city of the Ming Dynasty. If it were any other time, she would have considered Shiman Chushue's face when she spoke. She wouldn't have said it so harshly. But now, she didn't care about that much. She just wanted to see Ying Ziyu as soon as possible. She couldn't feel any warmth from a Mei sect anymore, and she didn't have any nostalgia for a Mei sect. She just wanted to get to Ying Ziyu as soon as possible. Therefore, anyone who blocked her would become her target of attack, whether it was moves or words. When Shiman Chushue saw Zhou Zhirua say this so directly, his face instantly turned cold, colder than the ice of 10,000 years. Zhou Zhirua, I respect you as a woman. This time, I won't draw my sword first, you draw your sword first. Shimin Chushue said coldly. You clown, you don't know your depth. Zhou suddenly pulled out the sword in her hand, and her momentum suddenly became fierce. For a moment, the wind and clouds changed, and the wind blew. Section 99. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sky was filled with dark clouds, and lightning struck. Just drawing the sword caused a strange phenomenon in the world. A chapter of 10,000 words, one chapter each in the morning, afternoon and evening starting tomorrow, with at least 8,000 words in each chapter. Chapter 66, Shimin Chushue's Rebirth, Jiang Yuyan's Warning. First update of 5,000 words, please subscribe. Shimin Chushue's face changed drastically when he saw this. Even when he was at his peak, he could only cause very slight changes in the world with all his strength, and there was no way to cause such a drastic change in the world. Moreover, Zhou had only drawn the sword, and had not made a direct move, but it was like this. For the first time, Shimin Chushue felt that his sword talent, which he had once been proud of, was so vulnerable in front of a true genius. Am I really as vulnerable as before? Shimin Chushue had a strong self-doubt. When he was fighting with Yiguchen, Shimin Chushue's state of mind had already had a huge problem. At this moment, this problem was magnified again. He was still thinking about asking Zhou for advice, and then going to the Ming cult to ask Yin Susu, the leader of the Ming cult, for advice. At the moment, he had completely given up on this idea. He was so disheartened at this moment. Even the sword in his hand, which was his life, at this moment, it became dispensable. Cruel, sword speed. While Zhou used the heart sword divine art, she also used the black Bodhi wrathful Ming Wang's thunder wrath breaking the void in the Bodhi certification divine art. This was when Xiaoyak, that is, Ying Ziyu, taught her these two techniques, and told her how to combine the two techniques together. The power of this sword technique is far greater than that of a simple sword technique. Zhou gathered all her internal strength to the tip of the sword, and disappeared in an instant. Boom! Thunder fell from the sky, the trees were rustling in the wind. Shimin Chushue raised his head with lifeless eyes, and he could not catch any traces of Zhou attack. Even lightning was much slower than Zhou attack. Shimin Chushue loosened his grip, and the long sword fell straight to the ground. The next second, he endured a fierce attack like a rainstorm, and dense sword energy poured down on him. Every sword energy that fell on his body would form a bloody wound on Shimin Chushue's body. But Shimin Chushue gritted his teeth and endured the pain. Without even frowning, he accepted the attack of the sword rain calmly. At this time, two different emotions were colliding in his heart. In the distance, a man saw this situation and wanted to rush up regardless of everything. Not long after he walked out, a pitch-black spear was inserted straight in front of him, stopping him. The man retreated instantly and asked with a vigilant face, "Who is it?" A night watchman walked out. Slowly, pulled out his spear, and said lightly, "The leader of the Western demon cult, Yu Luosha. Stand here, don't move, you can survive." He is the highest person in charge of the night watchman here, numbered Jin Luo-san. "Who are you?" Yu Luosha asked in shock. He felt the breath of a land immortal from the mysterious man in front of him. "You don't need to know, just watch here, I can guarantee that Shimin Chushue will not die." Jin Luo-san's tone was very cold. There was no emotional fluctuation in his words. Just like the spear in his hand, the cold light was exposed. Just one sentence. Yu Luosha felt like falling into an ice cave, and felt the biting cold all over his body. "What is your purpose?" Yu Luosha is the leader of the Western demon cult after all. Naturally, he didn't believe that the other party would make such a promise for no reason. If it weren't for the mysterious man in front of him to stop him, he would have rushed over to rescue Shimin Chushue. "I'll tell you when things over there are over. Don't worry, your son won't die." Jin Luo-san said coldly. Yu Luosha's eyes widened instantly, and she said in disbelief, "How do you know Shimin Chushue is my son?" Yes, he is Shimin Chushue's father. It's just that due to his identity, he can't be exposed in front of Shimin Chushue, since knowing that Shimin Chushue is looking for Yigucheng's traces all over Jiuzhou. Yu Luosha is afraid that Shimin Chushue will have an accident, so she has been following behind, seeing with her own eyes that her son, who was originally handsome, suave, and elegant, has become so unkempt and sloppy now. Yu Luosha feels very uncomfortable. As long as we want to know, Jiuzhou has no secrets. The strength of the organization behind me is far beyond your imagination. Stay here peacefully, don't think about revenge on Zhou Zhiruo, otherwise not only you and Shimen Chushue, but the entire Western demon cult will be wiped out. Jin Luosan's words are full of murderous intent. He was not threatening Yu Luosha, with the strength of a night watchman, not to mention one Western demon sect. Even if 10 or 100 Western demon sects were added together, they could easily destroy it. Yu Luosha's body trembled uncontrollably. He did not doubt what the other party said at all, even though he was extremely anxious at this time. He could only stay here and wait for the battle over there to end. Shimen Chushue endured countless sword energy attacks, and finally he could no longer hold on, and the whole person flew backwards in an instant. However, at the moment of flying out, he laughed very happily. This is the real swordsmanship, Shimen Chushue laughed and said, and after falling heavily to the ground, he vomited blood and fainted. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Seeing this, Zhou Zhiruo did not care about Shimen Chushue's life or death, and directly put away the sword and left, rushing towards the direction of Daqin. She wanted to see him who she thought about day and night as quickly as possible, Xiaoyak, the 9th son of Daqin, Ying Ziyu. After Zhou Zhiruo left, Jin Luosan and Yu Luosha came over, looking at Shimen Chushue, who was covered in blood and breathing more than breathing in. Yu Luosha felt very sad. As a father, he had not been with Shimen Chushue since he was a child. He could only leave Shimen Chushue in Wanmei Villa, but he didn't even dare to recognize him. Please, save him. As long as you can save his life, I'll do anything you ask me to do. Yu Luosha begged Jin Luosan bitterly. At this time, he was not the leader of a demon sect, but just a father who didn't want his son to die. Jin Luosan didn't hesitate, took out a pill from his arms and put it into Shimen Chushue's mouth. Then, he took out a token and threw it to Yu Luosha. He can't die, and when he wakes up again, his strength will be even stronger because his state of mind has changed. When I need you, I will contact you. Remember your current identity. If you dare to have any bad intentions, Jiuzhou will no longer have a place for you to hide. Section 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After saying that, Jin Luosan disappeared from the spot. Jade Rakshasa didn't notice how Jin Luosan left. This also made him realize again how terrifying the person just now was. The Grand Master is still a Grand Master after all, and there is an insurmountable gap between him and the land gods. Jade Rakshasa said helplessly, looking at the dark sign in his hand. There were no words on it, but when you touch it in your hand, you can feel a cool feeling, calming your irritable heart instantly. This surprised Jade Rakshasa. Jade Rakshasa became curious about the organization behind this. Afterwards, he also took Shimen Chushue away. In the Qin, Yu girl appeared in front of Jiang Yuyan. The Holy Maiden, the goddess Luo Xian of Tianmen, the Ice Emperor, and the Great Priest of Sojin Palace have entered the territory of Great Qin. It won't be long before we come to Xianyang. What should we do? The Yu girl was very anxious. She is not worried about the Ice King and the Great Priest. These two people are idiots. They have strength but no brains. It's very simple to deal with. However, Goddess Luo Xian is different. She is the direct disciple of Emperor Shirtian, and she is usually inferior to one person and superior to 10,000 people in Tianmen. It can be said that in the entire Tianmen, except for Emperor Shirtian, no one has more power than her. Anyone who can stay in this position is definitely not a brainless person. I didn't expect them to come so quickly. Give me another half-month and let me laugh at the pills rewarded by heaven. Even a few more of these will not be my match. Damn it! Jiang Yuyan had a cold face, and the killing intent in her eyes was particularly strong. As long as she refines the elixir, she can control her 7 emotions and 6 desires and then take out the holy objects in her body and use them as weapons. She also thought that Emperor Shirtian and the immortal god would be afraid of Daqin's power and would not dare to send people over to arrest people. Unexpectedly, the two of them were so bold and sent people over directly. Saintess, should we seek help from the 9th young master? Yu Mu asked tentatively. She knew that the saint didn't want Ying Ziyu to get involved in this matter. However, there is really no other way now. Luo Xian, Ice Emperor, and the Great Priest are all here together. The holy girl and her alone will definitely not be able to cope with it. No, absolutely not. The master cannot be involved in this matter. Emperor Shakti and the immortal god are both old monsters who have lived for hundreds or thousands of years. I can't let them deal with the master. Even if they can't hurt the master, I can't push the danger to the master. Jiang Yuyan said categorically and resolutely. Seeing this, Yunu sighed helplessly. Jiang Yuyan was thinking about what to do about this matter. The border of Daqin, the great priest headed towards Xianyang city alone. Even though Ying Ziyu is a land god, he still ranks first on the list of geniuses. However, the great priest still didn't take Ying Ziyu seriously. He is a subordinate of the immortal god, who sent him to capture those who disobey God's will. No one in Jiuzhou can disobey God's order. God, I will definitely help you take Jiang Yuyan back. The high priest's tone was very firm. The realm of land gods was released, and the speed suddenly increased, turning into a rainbow light and quickly heading towards Xianyang. On the other side, Luo Xian and Bing Huang were also very fast. This did not hinder the communication between the two. Ice King, remember not to attract Ying Ziyu's attention. He is also a land god, and so is Jiang Yuyan. If the two of them join forces, our operation will be 100% successful. Luo Xian warned, she always takes everything into consideration when doing things. This way you can avoid accidents. 0. My god Emperor Shi Tian said that anyone who dares to stop him will be killed directly. The expression on the Ice King's ugly face was very disdainful. He was also a disciple of Emperor Shi Tian, but he was instigated by a woman and betrayed Emperor Shi Tian, so he was imprisoned in an ice prison by Emperor Shi Tian. After the Ice King was released, his temperament changed drastically and his appearance became very ugly. Half of his face and a pair of eyes were covered with ice, and there was an ice thorn on his head. I am the commander of this operation. Whatever I say will be what I say. If you disobey my orders, the operation will fail. I will report the detailed situation to Emperor Shi Tian after I return. Luo Xian didn't waste much time and directly moved Shi Tian out. The Ice King snorted coldly and did not continue to talk nonsense. On Ying Ziyu's side, the golden gong appeared. Master, the goddess Luo Xian and Ice Emperor of Tianmen, as well as the great priests of Search Palace have entered Great Qin. Ying Ziyu put down the wine glass in his hand and said, Go and kill the Ice Emperor and the great priest, and keep that Luo immortal. As for how to do it, you should know. He knew that the purpose of these three people's coming was simply for Jiang Yuyan. If you dare to attack his woman, you must be prepared to pay the price. These three small characters were not worthy of his personal action, so sending Jin Luo there was already a great deal of honor to them. As for Luo Xian, this person is very wise. Ying Ziyu keeps her and makes her a high-level chess piece placed in Tianmen. In this way, he would be the first to know about any movement between Tianmen and Emperor Shi Tian. Yes, sir. Then Jin Luo left. Ying Ziyu stood up and stretched, saying, Emperor Shi Tian, the immortal god, two guys who have lived too long and have abnormal brains. Dealing with these two people is not difficult for Ying Ziyu at all. The weaknesses of these two people are too obvious. Others may not know, but Ying Ziyu knows them clearly. The Northern Song dynasty is over, and it's the Han dynasty. By the way, let's get rid of these two old guys together. Ying Ziyu began to plan. Outside Xianyang city, Jiang Yuyan and Yunu had been here early to wait for the arrival of Luo Xian, Bing Huang and the great priest. Yunu, is your information confirmed? Jiang Yuyan asked with a frown. In theory, the three of them should have appeared outside Xianyang city at this time, but why haven't they seen the figures of the three people?